Long before the Spanish conquest, in the heart of what we now call Mexico, the Aztecs built a mighty empire. At its center was their capital, Tenochtitlan, a city of temples, warriors, and gods who demanded a terrible price. The most feared among those gods was Huitzilopochtli, the god of the sun and of war. The Aztecs believed that every day the sun battled against darkness and the cold embrace of death. And to keep the sun alive, they had to feed it, and not with corn or beans, but with human blood. At the top of the Templo Mayor, the Great Pyramid of Tenochtitlan, thousands of prisoners of war were sacrificed, their hearts cut out while still beating, and offered to Huitzilopochtli so that the dawn would rise again. It was not cruelty for cruelty's sake, but it was survival, written into the very fabric of their belief. According to Aztec chronicles, one of the most infamous rituals took place during the dedication of the Great Pyramid in 1487. Historical sources claim that as many as tens of thousands of captives were killed over 4 days. Whether exaggerated or not, the story has echoed through history as a symbol of blood and devotion. Behind these sacrifices lay a darker legend, the story of Huitzilopochtli's own birth. The myths say that he was born fully armed, springing from his mother's womb to kill his own siblings, the moon goddess Huitzilopochtli and her star brothers, cutting her body into pieces and casting it down the mountain. For the Aztecs, this divine act explained why the moon and stars fall before the power of the sun. When the Spanish arrived in 1519, they were horrified by the rituals of the Aztecs. To them, the sacrifices were proof of savagery. To the Aztecs, they were acts of devotion that kept the world from ending. In the heart of the empire, atop the Templo Mayor, stood a 66-foot-tall pyramid. It was here that the blood flowed like water, where the screams of the dying mingled with prayers to the gods. The air was thick with the smell of copal incense, trying in vain to mask the coppery temps of blood. It was a theater of pain and faith. The main structure of the temple was dedicated to the fearsome god of war, Huitzilopochtli, whose image was everywhere, fierce and demanding. He was the sun god, the bringer of light and warmth, but also the god of death and destruction. His priests, dressed in the skins of jaguars and eagles, their faces painted like skulls, were some of the most powerful men in the city. They interpreted the will of the gods, deciding who would live and who would die. For the Aztecs, life was a gift from the gods, and death was a sacrifice to keep that gift. On the smaller pyramid, at the temple's summit, climbed the steps leading to the heavens. Here, priests performed rain dances in the dry season, begging the sky for mercy. And here, too, they conducted the most terrifying rituals of all, the human sacrifices. Victims were taken to the top of the pyramid, bound and gagged, their hands tied behind their backs. A priest approached, a sharp obsidian knife gleaming in his hand. With a quick movement, he cut open the chest, ripping out the still beating heart and holding it aloft for all to see. Blood, the life essence of the victim, sprayed into the air, a tribute to the gods. The heart was then chopped into pieces and sprinkled to the 4 winds, a final offering before death claimed the rest. In the 16th century, the Spanish chronicler Bernardino de Sahagun described a sacrifice in vivid detail. He wrote, "They make a cut in the left side, about 2 fingers above the breastbone, and take out the still palpitating heart. While the heart is beating, the executioner divides it into 4 parts. 1 piece is given to the priests, another to the warriors, a third is thrown into the air and caught with a shield, and the 4th is carried aloft on high." To understand the Aztec Empire, we must understand the role of sacrifice. Human life was cheap, but human blood was sacred. It was the life force, the essence of existence, and only the gods could demand it. To give blood was to give life. So when the Spaniards arrived, they saw not just a ritual, they saw a threat. They saw an enemy who worshipped a cruel and vengeful deity and practiced appalling rites. To the Aztecs, they saw a people who did not understand their religion and refused to accept their customs. They saw outsiders, and yet both sides believed they were chosen by the gods. The Templo Mayor, the Great Pyramid, stands today in ruins in the heart of Mexico City, a silent witness to a world that once thrived here. Over 700 years ago, the stones are silent now, but they whisper stories to those who listen. In their rough-hewn faces, you can almost see the ghosts of priests and warriors, of victims and spectators. The Templo Mayor is a tomb of memories, a monument to a lost world. The blood has long since dried, but the shadows remain. and in the silence of the ruins, you can almost hear the echo of Huitzilopochtli's drums, the beat of a god who demands blood for the sun to rise again.